Hello and welcome, everyone, to the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. Thank you so much for being a part of all of us. This is our fifth speaking engagement for the month of October, and we are so excited to have John Michael Lander with us today. Prior to him getting started, I wanted to give this opportunity and moment for all of our Jewish brothers and sisters out there and for anyone who is in harm's way to give them a moment of silence, your prayers, your good positive karma, whatever it is that you believe in that's something higher, to offer to these amazing people. And we'll start now. And thank you for that opportunity to remember others than just ourselves. All right. So, John Michael, wow, we have connected a few years ago and just have continued to, um, I guess, just expand the friendship that we have and the opportunities that you have to connect with more people and help them in such a way that's really, really important. So, here on the Unite in Light conference, we believe that any kind of prevention from any kind of abuse is super important. And tonight we're really going to be focused in. So, parents, pay attention. This is really for those young kids, teenagers, and how are they working with the internet? Who are they connecting with? And you can see on our title, right? 500,000 of these are after your children every day. So who are these that we're talking about? So John Michael, take it away.
Thank you, April, very much. Yes, I love you. Anyway, oh, wow. Where to start? I want to share this because it's such a passion of mine. Because when I went through my experience, it was grooming one-on-one in person. And what's going on now, this epidemic of online grooming is so out of control. It's like our people who are trying to protect children are 2 or 3 or 4 steps behind the predators. So yes, what April said, about 500,000 predators are online every day trying to connect with children ages 12 to 18. And now we're learning that it's even going below that. And they're doing this through online games, chat rooms, even those new goggle headsets that they can connect online with. These predators are there waiting, and they're doing it in such a way that they have a false profile, and they are watching, and they're just floating, basically going through the internet looking for people that they can connect with. Now, a lot of people keep thinking that the people online who are groomed are the ones who are vulnerable. How does a predator know that? He really doesn't, or she doesn't know that. So what they do is they start stalking and going through games, and if they can see someone that keeps repeating, or maybe it's a brand new one, a new person, a new profile, they will connect with that person and just start asking questions. Just simple little questions like, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you here today. It's good to see you. That kind of thing, just to create a relationship. And then they start building on it. And then they find out little more questions. The next time they'll see them again. So it's not like, I think we have this idea that predators online are a one-time deal and they go after it and that's it. These are groomed over months and months. And it's, depending on what child it is, it will depend on how that predator will groom. That's the hardest thing, parents. Listen to me carefully. Predators change their modus of operandi to the person that they're trying to groom, depending on their age, what they like, and all of the qualities that they start to figure out. That's how they will change the way they approach each child. So there is not a list of things to do like A, B, C, and D, which everybody keeps wanting. How do we know? What are the steps? What are the signs that there is a predator amongst us? They change. They're chameleons. They will change their skin and their colors. And I think one of the biggest things, and I know that April, you are amazing with this, is there's a sense of internal intuitiveness that mothers have with their children. If you are really connected with your child, you will sense those little things that just don't seem right. And those are the things I want you to stop and ask the child what's happening. Connection, communication. Find out where they are going online. Who are they talking to? And just give them a little attention. If they seem to be resistant, that could be a red flag.
That is so, so important. Your gut really is
Mm,
a guide on this. And we're talking about this whole program called the PIG, the
mm.
predatory internet grooming. And so, John Michael, tell us a little bit about where this came from and what's happening here with this.
I'm happy to. Pig actually came out of my other project that I formulated called the predatory grooming trifecta. The predatorial grooming trifecta, which is how the predators will groom an institution or organization first, then they groom the parents, and then the child. Once they have the first two in place, then they will go after the child. If they don't have the first two in place, they won't go after that child. So that's why it's so important that parents are aware of what's happening. And so PIG came out of that because grooming is grooming no matter where you are. It's a way of building a relationship, of building trust. And especially with online, if a child doesn't feel like they are fitting in socially at school or anywhere, they may feel like they are online because this is a whole new world here. And they can create an avatar and be who they want to be and not be afraid of being made fun of. And yet there's these predators that are just waiting in the darkness to meet up with your child, and they start building these relationships. And earlier this year in 2023, the FBI put out a warning saying males are the most vulnerable because they're easier to manipulate, to blackmail, and to keep the fact that they know that males will not report. So that's what the predators are banking on. So that's another thing to look at. And again, men or boys are really embarrassed if they find out that the person that they're talking to is a 45-year-old man after they've already built this relationship with someone who could have been a beautiful girl. And they think they have a girlfriend. They've been talking to this girl, sharing everything with this person. The predator is taking all this information and building and building and building this manipulative process. And so the child doesn't even know. And then things start sinking in, like, depending on what the predator wants. A lot of times the predators are looking for the child to give them pictures. And it will just start out with, hey, give me a simple picture. Well, with AI and everything, the predator can create or generate an image that they know that this child would like. If it's a male, they will come up with a girl, a female image, and send that to them. And so they got this communication going back and forth. And again, if the child is dealing with anything, like if school is hard or something, this predator gives the ear and listens. And the child thinks that they have a friend. And that's the biggest problem. And as things start to escalate, they will ask, and I'm focusing more on boys tonight just because people don't talk about boys as much, but this happens with females as well. So the predator will start getting the person to feel comfortable. Hey, give me a picture of that suntan that you got. And so the kid will take his shirt off. And so all of a sudden, this predator is taking these pictures and he's starting to send them in other places on porn hubs and stuff like this. And there is a black market, a dark market, where they are selling these pictures to other people who want them. And it's not easy to find these things. So once the pictures are out there, they are out there and they're being passed around. So it keeps continuing to escalate until they can get the child to do sexual things on camera because the child thinks that this is a boyfriend or a girlfriend that they've created. And now, once they do it, and they may feel awkward and I don't know about that, then there can become threats. And the scary side where they'll say, well, I have all these pictures you sent me. I'm going to go tell your parents. I know where you live. And they got all this information because they've been asking questions. And those are the things that are scary about this. And we have seen many times where a young girl thought she had met this young guy who was going to be her boyfriend, and they were going through it, found out that it was an older man. He lured her out one night, raped her, and killed her. and he was only like a block away from the home that she was at. Now, here's the other scary thing that's really, really freaks me out is that sometimes these predators are within the house. They're a family member, a friend of the family. So that person knows the child and has a leg up and knows how to work the system. So we've got to be really careful about this. And parents, you've got to really listen to your children. If I believe that a child that's being groomed, once it gets to a certain point, wants to share with somebody, wants to tell somebody. So you need to make sure that you hear that and you're able to communicate and talk with them and ask questions and not blame. And that's where it gets really tough because parents want to protect their children. And they'll say, "Oh, I'll go beat the crap out of that person," and that's not what the kid wants to hear right at that moment. The kid wants to know that they are safe and that they're in a place of where they can share this information. And I want to tell children if they feel like they can't tell their parents, if there's another adult that you can trust or you feel you can trust, talk to them. Always talk.
That is such, I mean, parents, we know that there are many things happening here. Trust that gut. I mean, it is just crazy to think that even within your own family or within your own home, that the predator's right there, just a doorway, online, connecting with all of this, the manipulation on the relationship. If you are feeling, I love what you said, if the child is feeling vulnerable, school's not going well, I don't have many friends, that is like a prime case. So communicate with your child, get to know, love, understand, know when things are off. That means that takes work to build that relationship with
Mhm.
parents and children. Keep working on that forever. This isn't magic. It all takes work. Sorry, it just does. And now we've got these other extra threats out there. Well, you can minimize a lot of things within your own home. And that's, first, building that relationship with your child. That is huge because as these things unfold, we're now involving, possible police,
Mhm.
moving, the pictures are out there, future work, your employer. Like the destruction on this can be in multiple different levels and it causes a lot of trauma. So we need to pay attention as best we can. So John, I know, so you've experienced this whole concept of grooming and it just doesn't happen. It's slow. The relationship, the connection, what you like, what things brought in, and then these ideas, right, that start to make you curious and wonder, and they know just the right kind of pattern to push. So, how do we help teach the kids to feel like, okay, wait a minute, like, I know kids are smart and kids
Mhm.
also have a gut of their own. So, how do
Right.
we help enable or give some skills to the kids? Any ideas with that?
I think that's the $1 million question, and I think that's what we're all trying to work on. And I saw Kathy was on here tonight too, and she's such an advocate for helping children and following their instincts and talking to them. And I think that's really the important thing. The thing I want to make sure that we understand, people get confused with grooming, and a lot of people don't like that word. They're trying to change it, but grooming happens to everyone from the time we are born. When we are born, our parents, the people around us, the doctors, the teachers, everyone is grooming us. And that is what the predators are using. That's the exact same method. So when we grow up and our parents are teaching us the right things and the wrong things to do, that's a type of grooming. The way they talk, the way they communicate, our social economics, everything builds into who we are. And so these predators are using the exact same thing. And so that's what makes it so difficult because it can change and it's so easy and slow. People think this happens really quickly, and it in some cases it does. But also, internet grooming doesn't care who you are. doesn't care if you are from the wrong side of the tracks, if you want to say that. There was a young guy named Jordan who was the high school football player, very good looking. Um, Thought he had met a girl online, and he was having this conversation, and it went on and on and on. And she started asking for pictures. They started doing what they call sextortion, and then he found out it was 3 men who were doing this to him. His embarrassment and shame caused him to commit suicide. We lose this bright person. And another thing I think parents need to do is to really look into their child's eyes when you're talking with them. Don't just look over somewhere else or just think you're having the conversation. Because if a child is going through this grooming, and I love this with you, April, is that their light in their eyes diminish. They may be doing everything else that they think that they're protecting, and everything's cool and everything's fun, but look in their eyes. If the light has diminished, there's something going on, and that needs time to talk. That needs time to find out what's happening. And it may not happen all at once. You may have to slowly start asking questions and building that trust back with them. Because if they are dealing with these monsters over here, and they don't feel that they can come to you because they feel shame and guilt, embarrassment, the predator has told them that it's going to ruin their family. It's going to be a shame on everyone. So this child is taking all this onto themselves. And what you need to do is find a way to get back in touch with them so that they know that they're not alone and that there is some safe area that they can come and share. Simple questions, say, hey, what game were you playing tonight? And they do have a list of games out on the internet that are where a lot of predators go. And you can find that list. All you have to do is Google the top online games where predators are, and it will come up. And so just ask and ask what's going on. What kind of conversations are they having? Do they feel safe? Ask that child that question. Do you feel okay with this person? How do they make you feel? And also going back to what you said about children have an instinct as well. They know when something's not right. And I think we need to encourage that side as well. We need to make sure that they see that this feeling that's inside, this in the pit of their stomach maybe, may not be right. Ask that question. And they're not alone. And I think that's the biggest thing, because when this goes on further, we've got to remember it is not the child's fault. There is an adult behind this, and they're manipulating the whole situation.
That manipulation is, it's powerful, but it still can be fought off. I love what you said, is that the kids also have a gut. If there's something wrong, it's okay. And so when we build those relationships as parents, if we haven't shamed someone or teased someone into a thing of like, well, I don't want to say anything because then I'll be looked down at or less of, when we can just be open and positive and show that this is a safe place of love, it changes the opportunity for the child to come forward before anything major happens and say, something is a little bit off here. I'm not quite sure about this. And if we can keep our heads, parents, keep that level head and not explode in the moment, go outside, scream in your pillow, explode in the car, fine and dandy. But, in the moment, the kid needs you.
Right.
And they need you right there. That's a challenging thing, but things can happen. And so I think this whole concept, we know we could just Google something, find out which rooms, which games more predators are going there to. It doesn't mean that, oh, good, checklist, they're not on any of those games, we're safe. It just
Right.
means, okay, that's maybe a few less to worry about. Keep attending. I was just telling John Michael before, so my oldest is 25, and just last Christmas was the first time that I permitted a gaming device in our home. And it is a device that you can't connect with other people. And so, like, blocking out a lot of this challenging problems in the first place was like, I gotta know that these things can't happen. So connecting with other people, and then, like you said, in the chat rooms and just talking and communicating back and forth, we are bombarded with so much information in this information age that it's just such a challenge to be there for every single moment. Okay, that's not really plausible. But what is building your relationship with your child so that if connections with other people happen, they feel I can still go to mom and dad about this.
Yeah.
I can still have a trusted person that I can share what's happening. Build relationships of trust with your kids so that if something happens, they will come to you.
Mhm.
Don't be that, scary freak out mom for a minute or dad. I mean, do that afterwards because you got to have a release. But in the moment, be the adult, be there, be cool, be on it. And then, you know, have your little fit and then come right back to this and be the one. You are the one to protect. You are the one who needs to show up as you can. Now, not all the time is it going to happen. And it might be later, even after challenges have happened.
Right.
But there's still time to continue to repair, to become better, to connect. And I can say that. I can say that. Time does heal a lot. If we can prevent, that is like best. So let's get this thing going, right? I've seen a few comments pop up here. Kathy says, yes, build relationships of trust, open communications. That is huge. So, John Michael, when you were suffering through the grooming that was happening to you, I'm sure within your conscious mind, you're a teenager and it's not, oh, I think I'm being groomed. I mean, like those words were not around. It
Right.
was kind of like, oh, I guess these people are my buddies. Oh, now they're kind of more my friends. Oh, cool. We're hanging out. Oh, I get to do adult stuff with them or, try my first drink or whatever. And that, the like red flags all over the place with you experiencing these things, building up those open communications. Did you have anyone in your life that you could go and talk to about this? Or did you?
Unfortunately, I did not. The fact was, I was an elite athlete. I was training for the Olympics, and my grooming situation was with professionals who wanted to help sponsor me to the Olympics and to college scholarships and stuff like that. But my mother and father were part of the situation because the lawyer who started the whole process groomed my mother first. So she thought she was doing the best for me, and so she was sending me out to these situations. And so there was no one in the house to talk to. Um, I also, in my situation, through my grooming process with the lawyer, I had to sign an agreement that I would not tell anyone on a piece of paper that I would not speak to anyone about what happened. However, I knew inside my stomach that if I could get an adult to ask me if something was wrong, then I could not be rude and not share. I could talk. I could tell them. I wanted to tell them. So when I would go to school, I would do indicators so that the teachers would come up and ask me what's going on. I mean, I remember one time I went for a whole week without changing clothes. I wore the same thing every day, and no one asked me. Another time, I remember dropping the F bomb as loud as I could in the hallway or in the locker room or anywhere so that someone could say, hey, what's going on? But they were so, how do I even say this? They thought that that was just the pressure that I was under because I was already traveling at the age of 14, 15, and 16 all over the world competing in the sport of diving. So they thought that was just part of the situation, that I needed to blow off some steam. And because I was always a very polite and cordial student, and I was an A student, and I was very popular, and so everybody knew who I was. So they just thought, he just needs to, but no one asked. And I think that was the biggest regret I've had throughout my whole life, because I even feel those moments today. There will be moments that I'm like, no one is hearing me or no one is listening to me. And I'm dying inside is how it feels. And it's trying to find the way to communicate it, because after a while, even as teenagers, I don't think we have the vocabulary to really express what we're feeling inside. And I think that frustrates parents. And parents lose patience, and they don't give the child enough time to try to express what's happening. And so the child feels it's not important enough, or they're not important enough, so they shut down. And I think what we need to do is really allow that child to express what's happening in whatever way they can, and be sensible, or not sensible, but sensitive enough to hear it, and empathetic to know that there's something going on. And like I said, you can always tell by the light in the eyes. I did an exercise where I went back and looked at all my old pictures from the time before the abuse started happening, during the abuse, and afterwards. And in the pictures, you can literally see the light go out of my eyes. So parents, stay in touch, and ask, and inquire what's happening. Where are they going? Are they in a chat room? Because what happens is the predator will lure them into a chat room, or meet them in a chat room, communicate with them there, get their trust, and then we'll ask them if they could talk privately in another place, which is a private chat room, or on their Instagram, or on their Facebook page, just the two of them. And they'll say things like, "I just want to share some important things with you." And so the child, thinks that they're helping out, that they have this friendship now. And I think just asking your child, are they talking to someone privately, and what are you talking about? It might be able to open up that communication.
Perfect. That is great advice. We can do those things.
Yes.
That is not scary to do. It might cause a little hesitation, but really, if you're thinking about the safety first, if you're thinking about a house burning, right? We're not going to say, well, let's just stay in this one room while it burns around us. I think we'll be okay. No, you want to say, wait a minute, get out, reassess everything, come back, figure it out. There's so many things to take a part of. I do have a question here that's proposed. It says, do kids report the internet grooming, or do parents? I'm just afraid it will happen to me. Do the police have to get involved with it? Great
That's a great
question.
question. Great question. And I think either one can do it. The child can do it themselves, or the parents, because if the child doesn't feel like they're safe with their parent, they can go ahead and report. There are internet calls that you can call anonymously and get information. You can contact your local FBI people and say, look, where can I go with this? Because each state has their own process. And the way things are going now in the battle within the internet, and the predators are fighting back because they say they have their freedom of speech. They can create whatever they want with AI and generate these images. It's mind boggling. And I do know a lot of the social platforms are making it harder for predators to share and post images, but there's not enough, because there are so much coming through. Things get passed. So I would say the child can report it themselves, or I would have the child go to a parent, not a parent, if the parent's not the right person, or to an adult that they can trust, and that they know that they can share. It could be an uncle, it could be anybody, if they don't want to do it alone. But there are anonymous places that you can call and get information, and to find out more about where your area is and how to handle it.
I think that's really, really great advice. So, parents, I hope you've kind of gathered some great information here. Thank you so much for those who've been popping up and sharing with us great questions tonight. Um, for John Michael, I know, I mean, as an author, you've written your stories here. I'm going to pop one up called Surface Tension. Another one is Cracked Surface. And these books kind of describe your life in a fictional through a fictional character, correct?
Correct.
And how you experienced the trauma and abuse for yourself. And so these are books that if you wanted to know, well, how does this happen? This is really his experience in written in a fiction way to understand it. And that might be good help like preparing prior to, really getting involved with a lot of things. And I think that the understanding is that it's here. You can't wish it away. These things are happening. So, what can we do? How can we arm ourselves? What can we do to better increase our chances to stop this, to report, to come together, to if things have happened, come and report so they don't get too much further down the road. We want in our lives these pigs to understand, not in my house. This is
Right.
not going to happen. And you can see running on the ticker underneath there, we've got John Michael Lander in the Unite in Light DV conference. He has an email address that you can connect with, johnmichael.lander@gmail.com. And so connect with him there if you have a lot of questions, because he really, the opportunity to serve and to help, he wants to make sure that what happened to him doesn't happen to other people. And the situation, like he said, was slightly different. It was a one-to-one opportunity, but out in the internet, there's so many more touch paths that can happen. But like he also said, grooming is grooming. So protect yourself, pay attention, look at that light in their eyes, trust your gut, and ask the questions, build those relationships. Don't flip out in the moment, even though it's hard. Even though it's really hard, don't flip out for a minute. Hold your mind with you. Be the adult. Be that part to take, I don't know, inventory of what's happening with the situation and then make a plan. Contact more people, because more of us have been through it than you probably realize. So you're not alone out there. All of those things John Michael talked about today. The this opportunity to help prevent abuse is super important. And I wanted to just drop a few of these comments down here from Kathy. She said that, what you had talked about is very, right on there. It was a great question. Victims simply need someone to just ask, is everything okay? Are you okay? And sometimes it's just that moment where then you can share. And that is huge. I really think that that is a key component here. So before we kind of wrap things up, remember, 500,000 of these predators are after your kids every day. So protect, be aware, build the relationships, communicate. I know parenting is a challenge, and it doesn't matter how tired you are. You're still going to be a part of this. Those kids are depending on us to be the adult, be the parent, stand up and do our best for the knowledge that we know of, to protect as we can. One thing for sure is that you'll always be able to see in their eyes that light. And if it is shadowing out, don't let that happen. Communicate, share the hard things, have a good cry, have a good opportunity to just have a conversation and see what can happen. Um, let's see. Let me make sure that I've got all these things put together here. So again, here are his books, and you can get these on Amazon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Cracked Surface. Whoa, hit the microphone. Sorry. Cracked Surface and Surface Tension. You can go to Amazon and purchase these, because he really gives some great thought through story about how to pay attention to what's happening. And that is something to kind of arm yourself with, protect yourself with. As a teacher, I am a mandatory reporter. So if someone shares, I will report. But what they have to know is that I don't, the child reporting is protected.
Right.
That is okay. So don't feel like, oh no, I told somebody and now they're going to come after me. No, we're reporting to protect. We report back so that you can be protected, so that situations can change, can improve, you can get away from. And in many of the people who we've worked with, talked with, that first contact of communication and opening up is huge. So
Mhm.
I know for yourself, this grooming and everything, even when you were shouting out by, using those cuss words and wearing the same clothes and trying to reach out, when things, who asked you? I don't know if I've ever asked you this question directly. Who asked you one day if you were okay? And were you able to share?
It was later on in college. It was my second year in college, and it was the dance teacher who had just started. She was from New York, and she had seen stuff like that happen, and she pulled me into her office and said, "All right, tell me the story." And it took a while. It took a couple of meetings with her, but I slowly started sharing with her. And she was the one that really went outside of her box, if you want to say, and helped me get away from the traffickers that I was involved with and helped me escape, basically. So I owe a lot to her. I thank her every day.
Wow.
So it's a teacher, everyone. I just want you to know that educators see more than they think they see.
That's so true. Uh, it is. At the end of the day, we look around and we think, wow, we do get such an insight, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's challenging too. But in that report, the safety that can happen is big. So encouraging that is going to be a big thing. Thank you, John Michael, for sharing that and
Thank you.
being so open and vulnerable with us. And thank you for being a part of the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. We will meet again on Thursday, and we will be with Sunny Heron, and she's going to help a lot of with great opportunities and ideas for producing and gathering more income. So if you are stuck in a situation and you need to be able to get out, or if you are out, how do you stay out because you need to earn a quick buck? We're going to be talking about that. So again, thank you, John Michael, for everything that you've shared with us tonight. This predatory internet grooming happens. Be aware of it. If you have any questions about this, please contact him at johnmichael.lander@gmail.com. Also, go to Amazon, grab his book, Surface Tension and Cracked Surface. And thank you so much, John Michael, for being a part of us this evening.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm glad to be a part of this. This is amazing.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Bye, y'all.